Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to Little Nightmares Secrets of the Maw. Previously, we escaped from the janitor and found ourselves in a furnace area filled with gnomes that we brought to the central chamber, which was essentially a giant furnace room. So we kind of collected the gnomes while dodging the janitor again. Apparently, this must be it must be connected to the lair. And essentially, the gnomes worked to power the furnace and bring us to the upper levels on top of an elevator, which is where we are right now, because we moved basically from the furnace, kind of like some kind of coal lifter or something, brought us up into this upper layer where we got into this elevator. Now, before we got into the elevator, we did find a bunch of gnomes that seemed to be enjoying the warmth left out by the furnace. And then we kind of got on the elevator and noticed the lady was inside. So let's figure out where that elevator brought us. So I'm assuming we need to climb this and swing over to the vent. Oh, okay, that was my bad. Ooh, gnomes. So, one guess as to where this is going to bring us. So this chapter is referred to as the residence, and you can probably see why. Looks like a fairly nice location compared to the rest of the Maw. And if you recall back to Little Nightmares, that's the elevator. The lady's quarters was very much like this, and so I do believe it's just basically an extension, a larger extension, because this is a pretty big place, but an extension on the ladies' quarters. Which does not alleviate any fears for me. I don't know if I can do anything with these. There are books everywhere. She must be well read. What is this? Ah, here we are. There's a flotsam up here, I believe. There you are. So I actually did a little bit of research on that because I said the flotsam looks like a bottle with a little scroll in it. And of course we're on I don't know if I call it a ship necessarily, but we're on a vessel that's in the water. It kind of makes you think of bottles at sea. And turns out when I started researching what that actually meant, that was quite literally what it was. It's basically kind of wreckage from ships, I guess, is kind of what it's referred to as. And so, thinking about how people may have left notes in bottles, that's kind of a tale as old as time type thing. At least with ships, but. Yeah. That's not creepy at all. The problem is, we know we can't really do anything to her. At least the first time I was playing this, that's what I kept thinking. Oh, sorry about that, Firebird. I actually forgot to post the link, and I just literally posted it. So you're not actually that late, unless you just. If you saw, we just passed the lady, so we're in the residence, which is as I noted, I think it's just an extension of her quarters that we were in the first story. So she's here. So this is creepy. Um, Now, kind of like the Hideaway, this place is basically a giant puzzle. So I'm going to assume that the lady's not going to harass us unless we make a bunch of noise. And I absolutely love this setup in here, by the way. I'm a big fan of staircases and libraries. And I do believe it looked like there were 3 floors here. Like I said, lots of books. I like bookshelves too. Bookshelves are libraries in general. Something majestic about libraries. So it looks like we have an indentation circular here. Maybe square. Which way am I pointing that? Square here. Oh, and triangle over here. And there's another eye door. If my memory serves, I think we want to go through the eye door. I think that's the overarching puzzle. And that's her portrait, I suppose. That looks like it's without a mask. So I'm so used to seeing her with the mask. Yeah, okay, so here's some bookshelves. I heard that. If you notice the book on the floor there, it looks like the mask she wears. And I do believe, oh, it's a picture of a gnome. I do believe some of these books pertain to magic, if I'm not mistaken. It's kind of a lore thing. I don't remember the puzzles here, though, so let's investigate. I know there's some puzzles in each room. This is really hard to control at this angle. Yeah, never mind. I don't care. Okay, this may look suspicious, and I will show what. Oh, there's black goo coming out of it. I'll show why. Okay, let's put that back. So that's one of our statues. It's very Resident Evil. Oh, do I need to move this? Okay. This whole place is actually very Resident Evil if you think about it. Not in a bad way. This I don't remember, but I do remember it's kind of a pain in the butt. And I think this is the first part of the puzzle. So we have a locked door on the left. We don't have a key. And I think what we need to do is align the 3 eyes. Align the 3 lights to the 3 eyes. And okay, that could work. There we go. Okay, that worked. And I think try the other one. Ooh, you might not work. No, you might work. Okay. Did that do anything? I don't know if that did anything. I'm assuming that's what I was supposed to do. I think we have to close all the eyes. Okay. Suddenly it just occurred to me. Ooh. This is rather dark. And creepy. These all statues, it looks like. I do believe there's a Flotsam around this area, so I gotta keep my eyes out for it. Okay, we got some pictures again, too. You can see some familiar faces on there and some new ones. So I think I know this puzzle already. This is a puzzle, believe it or not. Oh god, those faces. There is some connection between the pictures and kind of a prequel story called Very Little Nightmares. This is it. And so, for instance, this one here, she shows up in a few stories. I think some of the others here do as well. If I'm remembering this correctly, I think what we have to do is choose the images that are related. I want to say to the lady. I'm not sure if that's entirely what it's meant to be, but So let's go check the wall. I think there's 4 of them, if I remember. So we got the grumpy dude on the right. I think he was on there. Oh, mustachioid at the bottom left. I think the picture above the mustachioid guy might be the granny. Not entirely sure. It just kind of looked vaguely like her from that angle. Let's get mustachioid and grumpy dude. Let's see if we can find any others. I don't remember seeing the guy on the left there. Mustachioid. That one might be on there. The child might be on there too. Grumpo here. Creepy little girl. Another big guy. You're gonna stay on, right? Okay, the creepy little kid's on there. Guy with the big nose. This one too. No, not that one. It's not this kid, is it? It's the other kid. I think. So we have another. That one might be on there too. Let me look. Yeah. The other big one. Hey there, Bray. This one. That was it. Okay. Let me double check. I just want to make sure I don't miss the Flotsam. Oh, okay. Flotsam is over this way. I think. Oh, there it is. What is that? Is that that's a light, isn't it? Or is that a turnip? Yeah, that might be a turnip. That's what I wanted, though. Okay, so that's our first of the statues. Let's go get that statue. This looks bad. Oh my god. Oh man, is that close? Is the door? Oh my god. The door is closed. Is that what the turnip is for? I don't like this. Oh, that is tense. Oh boy. I do not like those things. I have some thoughts on the eyes. But that's for another day. Oh my god. It's a statue. I hope. Don't move. Oh, that's creepy. I hear voices. Oh my god. I see things. Yep. Shadow kids. They're gonna be the death of me. Those are really creepy. I think we can bring this one right downstairs. I wonder if she's still over there. Should we go check on her? Let's see, you are triangle. She creeps me out, so I'm not really entirely sure. Actually found the secret room. I didn't find it, but it was covered in the walkthrough I was using, the guide I was using. I thought it had something to do with the Facebook, and I think that's it. Now that I'm thinking about it, I was just talking about going down to see the lady, and I'm like, oh yeah, isn't that where the secret room is? Okay, so there's a book puzzle in here. I know we need to go up the ladder. And I think we need to match up the books to the shelf. Yep, I heard a little click there. So that was a kind of a circle. This one looks like a... I don't know, actually. I don't think you're matching up in color. Where would this one go? Say, it looks like an eye. You don't match up in color either, though. The Facebook, I think, is what gets us into the secret room. You're definitely not the right color. Any markings? Okay, let's check up top. I need to move you this way. I don't remember why we need to go up here, but I think there's a book on the shelf. Climb. There it is. Okay, that's the one. No. Are you the only one I need? I'm going to assume. Can I drop down to this? Quick trip. Is that the end of the puzzle? No, okay. Where does the iBook go? Do one of these look like an eye? I don't see anything that jumps out at me. Let me check the other side. You'd think it would have to be on this side. But, oh, there it is. Literally right in front of me. Oh boy. Do I want to go in there first? I don't know if I do. Let's try this. Before I go in there. I don't know if we have to do these in any particular order. What did I just do? Okay. I don't know if I can get past her like this, because I can't sneak. But I think I know a way around it, though. I think there's a way to get rid of her temporarily. Actually, it might work. I'm gonna leave that there for now, though. Well, she's still here. She's supposed to disappear at some point, I think. She has the key. Can I sneak around her with the book? I don't know if I can. Oh! That scared the crap out of me. I did not expect that. Alright. I'll leave that book there for now. We'll go back to that later. Oh no, that's why. She probably would have disappeared if I had not activated this. Let's just take a closer look here for now. Huh. Interesting. Is it just me or did everything get super quiet? Okay, maybe it's just that area. Oh wait, this is the one. I think we want the... Yeah, square shaped, okay. Think that'll work? There you go. The mask book is still just sitting there. Okay, that should do. No. Stay on. Oh no. No. Trying to get that book out of here is gonna be a pain in the butt. Oh, I do not like this. Can I take you with me still? Oh. Well, got the key now. Crap. But I've always had a lot of trouble getting them. So I just call those shadow kids, shadow children. I don't know what the heck they actually are. I think we want to go down this way. Okay. Where do I use it, though? I'm assuming the room in the bottom left. I could be way off on this, I don't know. Oh, there it is. I even walked by it earlier. It's kind of cool because usually when the books are put in like that, it makes kind of like a whole picture. But here it kind of looks more like a split face. And I do believe for the trophy, because we have a creepy room here, we just gotta push this and break it. I have no idea why that's the trophy. I can pull up the description. So it says ashes to ashes. So I'm assuming that was an urn. It says break the urn. Oh yeah, it says urn. Break the... Where did I get that from? No, that's my writing. Who knows what secrets they hold, is what it says. So perhaps she was using it for some of her powers. I have an idea on her powers too, because the mask seems really prominent. I don't know where that falls in the fandom, but I kind of wonder if her mask is a source of some of her power. So, I believe the next Flotsam, it looks like it's in the door where the key leads to. Oh. So the lady is gone and her shadow children are out. And they only seem to show up in the dark. I could hear them whispering when the lights were on, but you never saw them outside of the shadows. And they can't stand in the flashlight, so... I'm assuming I could probably just climb this, but... Is it an I key? Looks like it. Oh god. They're so creepy. I prefer the lights on in this case. I'm usually a fan of the dark, but... Oh, I do not like this. I do not like this at all. Flotsam should be down here, I think. What in the... Oh, man. I know what that is. I do not like this. I think this is where it gets... They start really coming at you here. I think there are quite a few of them in here. Oh, I don't like this. Oh crap. Yes. Don't turn off the flashlights. There's a lot of them. Ooh, there's a safe spot over here. Maybe it's not a safe spot. Certainly not feeling too safe. Ooh, 2 for 1, 2 for 1, 2 for 1. Did I do it? Did I do it? Is that the end of them? I don't think I'm going to reach that. Great. I'm stuck in here, aren't I? So they seem to jump even if the light's on. That's not good. Oh no, what did I do? I almost fell through the floor, that's what I did. Can I jump over there and get him? Oh my god. No, you don't. You coming? How many more of you are there? I can climb this, which makes me think I should be over here. Is that literally it? I was right at the start. But no, that can't be. He's not even going for the handle. No, it can't be something like this. I mean, it's Little Nightmares, it can be, but what about... Oh, are you kidding me? Yeah, you are not kidding me. Oh, I don't like that. It did look like death, but the ladder was there for a reason. Everything's fine. Everything is okay. No, not another dark room. How many of you are there gonna be here? Do I have to solve a puzzle while you're harassing me? I don't like that. Oh my god. There's like 100 of them. They're not gonna make this easy, are they? Okay. How far did you send me back? You're still setting me back. Okay. Ooh. Shoot. Oh look, it's a picture of the maw, inside the maw. Okay, so there's a Flotsam somewhere in here. Oh. Oh, that's clever. Wait, what are you? So, I didn't figure that one out on my own. I actually could see it. How do I do that, though? Oh, I think it's the piano. No, stop it. Oh, I was totally wrong. Never mind. That was to get the Flotsam. Cool. Okay, is that the real statue? That's gotta be. We didn't come all this way for nothing, right? And this part I completely would have missed if I hadn't caught it in the screenshot. Oh. Oh, we're back. Okay. Okay. All right. I can't even see where I am. There I am. I did notice the screen is quite a bit darker on the end of recording as opposed to playing. There's a few points where I was pointing out some things in the dark, and like on the playback, you cannot see them at all. So my apologies. I do like lighting in games, though. It should be dark for a reason. Okay. And it's cold. And there's broken mirrors everywhere. You know what that means? Well, she knows we're here now. The one and only time when I think I've ever seen her face. Oh god. I think the Flotsam is in here. Oh, no, 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 no. No. Where is it? Oh, yeah, it could be down here. Oh, I don't want to go that way. I'm not seeing it still, though. I may have gone a little too far. Wait. What's this room? Okay, I don't want to miss that Flotsam. Let's go back. Wait. Huh. Is it in here? Oh, God. Oh, there it is. That should be the last one. Something tells me she wants us to go in the other door, though. Yeah. That doesn't seem like a good idea, does it? Do we really need to go down there? She turned us into a gnome. There's no way we're making that. Now, the guests don't seem particularly interested in us, if I recall. I do believe the gnomes are supposed to be on the ship, the vessel. I'll kind of explain my thoughts on that as we get towards the ending, or after we get to the ending. Okay, I think I'm in the right area. There's, well, we know 6 hasn't come through yet, because she's still alive. Okay, is that a hole? Alright, so that was the ending of Secrets of the Maw. Unlike the other 2 episodes, there's a lot to unpack in that ending, and a few kind of notes moving into the next game. So first off, let's talk about the lady. So the residence, like I said from the beginning, seemed to just be an extension of the lady's quarters, which showed that she had a lot more room on the ship to herself than you might think otherwise, including a massive library. And I'm kind of assuming that the books And I think I've read this somewhere. I don't think it's just me. But I'm assuming that the books relate to her powers, her magic, whatever she has. Because one of them very much fixated, or two of them very much fixated on the mask, which I think is a source of her power, and I'll explain that in a moment. And then there was one that looked like, there was, again, some stuff about gnomes in there, and there was an iBook, there was a few other kind of interesting things in there. A lot of really cool portraits that relate to other characters and other stories, plus this story. And ultimately, if we think about the magic she's used, we saw some stuff here. So, I think there, I'm kind of wondering if she had those powers innately or if she learned them somehow. Not entirely sure. Now, the Shadow Children were another aspect of it that I thought was kind of interesting. So before we focus more on the lady, I'm not quite sure what those were, but I imagine that was some relation to her powers as well. So, I don't know if that was the same thing as what we saw with like the Shadow 6 figure that we would see in the main story when she would feed, or if it's something, something else. I don't know what they were exactly, because it seemed like they were wearing masks, kind of like hers almost. And then when we get them in the light, they would kind of fade away, and eventually the mask would fall to the floor and break, and they wouldn't get back up. Which again kind of points to the idea that the masks might be a source of power here. Now, coming back to the lady, a few things, of course. First of all, the masks and the whole face thing, because we've never seen her without her mask on until now. So this is the only time I have ever seen her without the mask. So if there's other imagery out there, I do not know. And so I kind of wonder, we saw her reflection, we didn't actually see her face directly. So I know some people, myself included, have questioned whether this was to show that she has a deformed face, or to show that her reflection appears that way. Because I'm not entirely sure, and it might be a combination of both. And so the idea, does the lady truly have a deformed face, and she's breaking the mirrors because she can't stand to look at herself? Because that's kind of a big question in the story. Why are all the mirrors broken? We know that she couldn't look at them with 6. And then the mirror itself, she couldn't face the mirror when 6 used it on her. But why was she looking at the mirror in this case? I don't think it can just be the mirror itself. She can clearly look at herself. Also, if you notice, when she picked up the runaway kid, when we started walking by that room, and she started turning us into the gnome, the lights started to flicker, very similar to how it did with her unmasked face, because it did when we saw her face, it was unmasked. I think it did it again while she was casting her spell on the kid. I think it did it in both. It did it at least when we saw her unmasked face, which kind of a throwback to 6, showing some possible connection there. And I'll get into that actually in Little Nightmares too, because that connection might not seem very obvious right now. And I don't remember if I talked about that in the main game or not, but I'll come back to that again. It's not a lost topic, so I think that's very significant. The fact that her powers are causing the flickering as well as 6's did, and 6's did long before she consumed her powers. So a point of connection there that we want to carry forward into Little Nightmares 2. Now, she took off after she saw us rather than coming at us. And it's not the first time she's done that. We know she did that with 6 as well. She took off when she realized 6 was in the room. But she was wearing the mask that time. I think she was setting us up. This time she screamed and ran off. Like she knew we saw her. And she wasn't wearing the mask. So again, I draw back on the idea, maybe she ran away in this case, not because she wanted to intimidate us, but because she wasn't wearing the mask. Maybe, again, kind of going back to the idea that maybe that's a source of her power. And the reason I come back to that idea is she was looking in her reflection here without the mask, but when we point the mirror at her when she's wearing it as 6, she can't, that's what we use to take her down, essentially. So I kind of wonder if the mask is actually why she couldn't look at the mirror in that case. If she looks at the mirror with the mask on, maybe it's reflecting her energy back at her somehow. Because, like I said, she was able to look at the mirror. Most of the mirrors in the mall are broken. There's been like 3 of them we found, I think, so far. One in the guest area, and I think 2 in her quarters that are not smashed. So maybe she smashes most of the mirrors, not because she doesn't want to look at her face, but because she knows the mask is going to affect her if she's wearing it. And she wears it all the time. or seems to wear it all the time. So, kind of some food for thought there, I guess. But that's what it seems to point to, is that it's the mask that was allowing Six to take her down rather than necessarily her herself. The mirror wasn't having that effect on her, or may not have had that effect on her without the mask. Now, I'm not saying she's not deformed. If you look at her face in the mirror, though, I think the proportions of her face when she screamed at us didn't quite look normal to the proportions of her face under the mask. Which I'm not saying, again, that she's not deformed, but I don't know if it was necessarily as bad as it looked, or not quite as obvious as it looked. Like, the reflection might look a little different, or maybe it's just the way it looked. Maybe it is more literal than what you would take it for. But like I said, a lot of people do question whether she's actually deformed, or if she, or if it's her reflection that's more deformed. And deformity of the face is not an uncommon topic in Little Nightmares, so I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm just saying it seemed like it could go one way or the other. It's not necessarily that she was deformed. It could have been the alternative. Now, the gnomes, as I said, when she was casting the spell on us, she turned us into a gnome, because when the camera came back to, we were on the floor with a bunch of clothes around us, and had turned into a gnome. And so it's clear that the lady is turning runaway children into gnomes, because all the runaway children seem to be, the ones that get away seem to get converted into this, because there's gnomes all over the ship. And the rest of the children are either being chased down when we see them, or who knows, but maybe they got away. But, so the assumption here, I kind of wonder, is she converting them into the gnomes because she wants them to power the furnace, or is she just doing this so they can't do anything? So just kind of an interesting point. Now, one thing I kind of thought was kind of interesting about the gnomes, and because I'm not necessarily saying they were being used to run the furnace. Like I said, she might just be doing that so they can't do anything more. Maybe that's just one of her weird abilities. Because it does mention in the official description of her that she uses her powers to keep the mob running. But I was kind of pointing out the idea that maybe she wasn't doing that literally. Maybe her magic is not keeping the mob running. Maybe her magic is making the gnomes to keep the mob running. So again, I'm not saying one way or the other because we just don't know, but it's possible that she's making the gnomes to keep the furnace running, to keep them afloat, moving, whatever it does, maybe keep the power on, I don't know. Now the other thought, and this is actually an original thought of mine, again, I do have this from time to time. Some of this stuff is my original thoughts, it's just, I do dig a lot into lore, and I'm going to put some source stuff in here for people that are interested in it, because I have a really good playlist from another YouTuber that did some really good deep dives on this, and his stuff is really interesting. He points out a lot of good little details to check out and to consider. But my consideration on the gnomes. So I thought it was interesting when I first read the description of the gnomes that it was N-O-M-E and not like a garden gnome. What does that mean? N-O-M-E, gnome. So the runaway children become these faceless entities when they're turned into a gnome. So, and like when you see the runaway children in general, they look like children, but they all look individual in their own way. Some have different hairstyles, some are implied male, female, it seems. So they all look a little different from each other. But once they get converted into a gnome, they all look the same, and they have a hat covering their face, so you can't really see any features. And I'm assuming the features would be the same no matter what. They kind of look like little mushrooms. I've heard them described as little mushroom people. So I've been considering the idea that gnome could actually be a take on no name, that they are faceless entities with no name, and nobody can tell them what they are anymore, no one can tell them apart. Their existence as a person, a child, no longer exists. Like nobody knows who they are anymore. That was just kind of my take on that, because I thought it was an interesting, like, why name them gnomes? And I was like, well, no for literal and gnome versus name, that's where I kind of came up with the idea of no name. I don't know if I'm running down a bad rabbit hole with that, but I just thought that was kind of interesting. The other thing too is the runaway kid herself. If you paid attention in those last two scenes, there's a couple of things that were really interesting there. The first is the runaway kid gets turned into a gnome, and he finds his way down into the guest area, and he finds a room that looks very similar to the end of the first story, to Six's story. If you think back to before we went to the ladies' quarters, so right at the end of the guest area, what did Six do? She walks into this little isolated room There's a gnome in the middle of the room with a sausage in his hands, and there's another gnome up on a shelf. That was the identical room, and we were the one near the sausage because everybody else ran out of the room. What did Six do then? She bit into the gnome. That was the first time we saw her kill something that was human. We're the one left with the sausage, so the implication here is that we are the one that found the sausage, and then we handed it to Six. Six bit us and killed us. So the runaway kid gets turned into a gnome by the lady, makes his way down to the guest area, finds this sausage, and a bunch of gnomes take off on him. Who comes through? Six, who bites him and kills him. So our character did not meet a happy ending here in any way. Not only did we get converted into a gnome, we were then killed shortly after by Six. And it's funny the way the scene ends because it is literally exactly the way it is when Six walks in the room. So I think that possibly what they were running from was Six in a way, because they are skittish. It mentions that they are, regardless of what they don't seem to see her as a threat because she's been hugging them this entire time. So I don't think that they're just necessarily running from her, but just that they're skittish. So I bet it's her that's probably coming through the door soon, or, it's got to be around that same time. So she's probably in the guest area right now as we speak, at that moment where we were when we left off. So those are kind of my final thoughts on this. There is one other thing I will point out. I don't want to say much on it yet, other than it sets us up for the second game. But there was kind of a scene there at the end, and it kind of reminds me of a few other games that do this, like The Evil Within and Dishonored did this, where the DLC sets up for the next story. But if you kind of paid attention at the end there, that last little scene showed a TV with a thin man kind of set in the center of the TV. So that is kind of a what's the word for it? A segue to Little Nightmares 2. So we are going to see that again. That is actually pushing us into the next story. So I'm not going to really say why. I'm not going to elaborate on that because it's not really going to make sense at this point. But just kind of keep that image in mind. And if you go through Little Nightmares 2 and you get to the point where you realize what that is, come back to this and that connection will make sense. Or just go on the website and read about the characters, because there is a character called the Thin Man. So that is a good place to close things out. I will be continuing tonight, so we are going to start Little Nightmares 2, so if you're here live, stick around. Otherwise, thank you all for joining, and I will see you all later.